Hey y'all, and welcome to Monner's Market, and welcome to my Would You Believe I Made This video. I am going to go back to some DIYs that I did when my channel was so new that I had less than 1,000 subscribers, and this video only got like maybe 200 views. We've been so busy with friends and family for the holidays that I haven't had a chance to actually make anything for this week, so I figured what the heck. So we're going to go back to this beautiful little sign that Natalie over at Design from the Nines made, I guess about a year and a half ago, and I'm going to recreate it now. I just thought it was the most adorable sign, and I knew it would be easy to make, and I knew right where to go to get everything I needed to make this adorable little sign. Now, everything I'm using here, well, not everything, but the top and the bottom came from the Dollar Tree, and the two little middle pieces came from Hobby Lobby, and I will link everything down in my description box below in case you're interested in maybe buying some. I'm going to go back in with this same antique wax and bring out the wood grain in this wood. Now that little piece right there I had used before, and it was painted black. So what I did is just try to sand it off as best I could. I couldn't get it all off, but what I did to fix that is whenever I finished staining all of my wood, I took some of the black chalkboard paint from, I believe I got it from, it was the Dollar Tree. And I just went over my wood and then wiped it back down like I did the antique wax. And it darkened up that brown, and it actually turned out prettier than I thought it was going to turn out. So I'm kind of glad that that happened that way too. But once I got that done, there's the chalkboard paint from the Dollar Tree. Once I got that done, all I had to do was place my little candlesticks on the base. Now, all I did was use the hot glue, the wood stick hot glue, to place it on there. And I got my measurements to find the middle, placed it on there. No, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I did that, I put my little design on it. Now, Natalie put Hello Fall on hers, and I thought that was adorable, but I wanted to use mine every day. And I am a new chalk couture designer. If you haven't been to my channel yet, if you have, you already know I'm obsessed with chalk couture. There will be links down below if you're interested in anything that you see today. So I took this one little transfer out, and right in the middle you'll see Thankful and Blessed, and it's got these cute little leaves beside it. Well, I didn't want to use the leaves, but that's the beautiful thing about chalk couture is you can pick and choose anything that you want to off of these transfers. You don't have to use the whole thing. And then the one that I put on top of it is from our French Country Minis, and it's just the bee, and I think it's, what is that, like a Victorian style frame around it. So I took my bright white paste and I just filled in the Thankful and Blessed, and I filled in, or chalked as we say, the top little piece. And then you pull it off slow. It's going to look like I'm yanking it off like a band-aid here, but you do want to pull it slow so you don't stretch out your transfer. And then I was ready to put it on my base. So I just kind of find my middle, and then I hot glue my first little candlestick down, and the other candlestick fit perfectly on top of this one. I believe she only used the one tall piece that I'm going to put on top of this one here, but I wanted my sign just a little bit taller than hers. She also, if I remember right, used a square bottom, and this was just a wood base that I already had on hand. So I got everything glued down, and once I got it glued in place, I was done and tickled to death at how this turned out. I think it looks super high end, and I would probably pay a good $15 for that in any little craft store anywhere. And I love the way it turned out. There's hers and mine together, and here is mine. So be sure to let me know down in the comments below what you think about how my version turned out. Look how beautiful that chalk couture is. It's so hard to mess up, and like I said, I'm totally obsessed. If you're interested, again, the links are down in my description box as to where you can either join to be a designer or just simply buy anything that they have, and they have some gorgeous things. You are happy, you're welcome to message me too if you have any questions about it. So let's get into my last DIY after I show this off for just a second more. Look how pretty that turned out. Like, it truly is beautiful. Now this DIY is very intimidating, but it could not be any easier. If you have a sander, or you could get a sanding block and sand it by hand. Now that is going to take a little bit longer than it does if you don't have an electric sander like I have. And I only paid like $25 for that at Home Depot, so it wasn't very expensive at all. And anyway, you just get you a 1x6x6 piece of board. I want to say it was $7 or $8, if that. And you make sure you sand it all down real good. Now, I like to take these microfiber cloths that you get at the Dollar Tree and cut them up and use those for my stain. That's another tip that I learned from Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs. I think she probably uses a little bit smaller piece, but it don't matter. It's the microfiber cloth, and it just works perfect whenever you're putting stain on. Now, this ebony stain that I got the other day, I had a request for a black background, so I bought this ebony stain, and I love it. I thought, if it's black, there's no way you're going to be able to see the wood grain through it. Oh, no, that was not true. You could still see the wood grain through it, and it was beautiful in the end. I was so in love with it, and I will be doing lots more with that stain. So anyway, you just take the stain and you stain your whole board. And that's my grandson, Jake. He was getting ready to leave for work and just came out there and talked to me for a little bit. And that's who you see kind of standing around talking to me for a little while. But anyway, I just got the board stained, and once it was dry, then I went back and took my stencil that I cut out with my Cricut. So, okay, you'll need a Cricut unless you can hand draw. Now, if you can hand draw, by all means hand draw. But I told y'all before, I can't even draw a stick man. So I rely on my Cricut, although I did when I was cutting this stencil up. You'll see right here on this H, I messed my H up. But I'm doing several of these at one time, so I did have another one cut out that saved me. So if you want to hand draw it, or you can actually even get stencils at the Walmart or the Dollar Tree. You don't have to have a Cricut to do this. But for me, I used my Cricut to cut out my stencil. That is the 813, 831. I think it's 813 vinyl by Oramask. Stencil vinyl. I love that stuff. When you put it down on your project, it does not peel up your paint or your stain or whatever you've put down there. And this one is the same design as the one that I did a couple weeks ago. This one here, so look at the wood grain there. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Now that wood is so dark that I had a hard time seeing where my placement was on my stencil. So I had to get my honey to come over with his light on his flashlight. And then once he got there, he's got to have the measuring tape. He can't do anything by sight because he's a perfectionist. So we had to measure it and make sure that it was in the right spot. But anyway, enough of that. Once you get your stencil on, take your paint, whatever you're using. Here I use the white acrylic paint by Apple Barrel. I still cannot find any white chalk paint by Waverly. I did buy some the other day from somebody else. It was a can, comes in a can. But anyway, that's me just touching up a little bit of the paint. So don't be alarmed whenever you pull your stencil off and be like, oh, I missed a spot here, or I got a little bit there. It's so easy to fix. It's a super easy fix. But look at that wood grain, y'all. It is beautiful. I was so surprised that I could still see the wood grain through there. But anyway, got the paint done, got it dried, took my stencil off.
and added my little O for home with the same greenery that I used the last time. Got it from Walmart. It was only, I think, like $1 or $2 for that roll. And I will get probably 3 or 4 of these signs out of that roll. So it's not bad at all. But that is it, y'all. That's all you do to this sign. Make a pretty little bow for it. And then I like to put a little piece at the bottom and cover up some of, the leftover at the bottom. But I'm telling you, it just does not get any easier. So if you're sitting back and you are, just anxious about doing something like this, like I was for so many years, just step out and do it. And I hope that my video can give you the courage to be like, oh, heck, if she can do it, I can do it, because she screws everything up. So, I mean, really, it's so easy. And these make the most amazing gifts. Now, they sell these for $35 and up. I've seen them up to $70, which I could never charge anybody that much for. Now, this ribbon right here I got from the Dollar General, and it just has little sayings on it like happy and kind and grateful, and all of the things that Rosalind, who has been my best friend for many, many years, she is my oldest daughter's godmother. So we call each other baby mama. She's my baby mama. And she's just been very, very precious in my life. And that ribbon, when I saw it, I was like, I've got to use this on Roz's sign because it is so her. She is all of those wonderful things. But look how easy that was. I mean, don't let it intimidate you. Jump right in, get you a board, get you some stain or paint. You can paint it. You don't have to stain it. But look at the wood grain shining through there. Put your lettering on there. Throw you some greenery in a bow. That is it. It's so easy, guys. Look, see, life, happy, excellence. Those are all the things that describe her. I love that girl so much. I mean, she's just such a major part of my life. And then there's the little bottom, the little piece that I like to do on the bottom. I don't do that on all of mine, but I did like that on this one. But that's it. So super easy. So tell me what you think about that. Tell me if you're going to try it, or if you do try it. And send me a picture. Show me a picture of yours. Now, this is my stove cover. I have wanted one of these for 2 or 3 years, ever since they started being a thing. And I was not paying no $70 for one. So first thing I did is I measured my stove, got my measurements. I went to Home Depot and got it cut, and they'll cut it for you for free. Now, these I got from Home Depot. Those suckers, it was hard for me to push because they are tight, but I mean strong. And they were probably unnecessary here. That's the wood grain that the wood stain that I used. I did use some wood glue. I'm just showing you everything that I used. Now, I bought these cute little handles to use on this. They're kind of industrial looking, but I'm about to do, I have roosters in my kitchen, and I have had them for years. I'm talking about major farmhouse, but I'm about to switch over to the white porcelain farmhouse look. So, and I loved these handles, and I thought they would be perfect, but they were just so small for this big old piece. So I ended up using some handles that I had around for, see, look at them. Aren't they adorable? I love them. So I ended up using some handles that I have for my Lazy Susans that I use. But really, I'm telling you again, easy DIY. I had my board cut down to size by Home Depot. This was a 1x6x10, and they cut them down into 29.5 inches long. It took 4 of them. Now, you see that one board right there is a different color because I'm doing several of these at one time. And I just grabbed a different board. Now, with the stain, it does not matter. I really thought the stain was going to be off whenever I did it, but you'll see that it's not. So I took the end piece. Now, the end piece is a 1x2. and it was 22 inches long to match the size of my stove. Now, you want to measure your stove first. So I put a bunch of wood glue on there, got my grandson Daniel to help me hold it in place, which I didn't end up needing him, but he wanted to help, so I let him. But anyway, that's Daniel. He's 17. He's in the Army. He just got back from boot camp in July. He will do 12th grade this year. When he graduates, then he'll go out to Texas to do his AIT training, and he's going to be a medic in the Army and eventually be a doctor when he gets through with college. But anyway, the clamps were probably not necessary because I did use my brad nailer and nailed them down, but I just wanted to make sure that they had a good tight grip. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't going anywhere. And as tight as those little vice grips right there are, believe me, that thing ain't going nowhere no time soon. Now, this is me just playing with the handle, because when I got it all put together, I was like, man, that's huge. And even though that doesn't look much bigger than the one that I originally wanted, it was. So I ended up going with the other one, and that was it. All I had to do now is stain it and stencil it. And you don't even have to stencil it if you don't want to stencil it. But I wanted mine stenciled, and I just went back and flipped it over once I was done and put some brad nails in the back. So I nailed the top and the bottom, plus the wood glue. So believe me when I tell you that this thing ain't going nowhere. And then once I got it all nailed down, I took it outside and I stained it. I used that, I want to say it was American walnut or some kind of walnut. I'll put it down in the description and let you know the name of it. And then I guess when I got it outside, I decided that it needed a few more nails, which it did not. Trust me, it was not going to go anywhere. But I'm an overachiever, so I went ahead and put some more nails in it to make sure that it would last for many, many, many years to come. And then threw this stain on there, and once that stain dried, then I put my stencil on. Now, I fought with that stencil. Oh, did I fight with that stencil? I had this harebrained idea when I was sanding this thing down to use a wire brush and wipe off the excess dust. Now, do as I say and not as I do, because I scratched that wood all to pieces when I did that. Now, it does give it a little bit more rustic farmhouse feel, and it does look a lot more weathered like that, but that was not the look I was going for. I got it all sanded down, got it smooth, got it cleaned up, put my stain on there, and then went back, cut my design out. And like I said, I fought with it like crazy because I waited, or I didn't wait until my stain was completely dry. So I struggled with that, trying to keep that stencil down. And I never have trouble with that stencil. Like, that's the best stuff in the world. And I mean, I struggled trying to keep the stencil down. So I did have a few bleeds, but you see it was not hard to fix those bleeds. I just went back in and wiped off while it was still wet the area. And if I wiped too hard and pulled some of the stain up, I just went back with a little bit of stain and covered it back up. And I guess I probably wasn't too worried about it being perfect because I knew it was mine. But you see how easy this thing went together, and you see how beautiful it is. And again, we're only talking $10 to make the whole thing. So get out there, get your wood on, and make you some of the most beautiful, expensive, high-end gifts for pennies on the dollar. Now, when it come to putting my handles on, I had my honey come and help me because I did want those perfectly in the middle. So I took these little felt pads that you can get from the Dollar Tree, and I put on the bottom because it is a glass top. Here we go again. Glass top stove, and I didn't want that wood to scratch it up. But there it is. There is the finished design. So cheap, so easy. Those handles were $1.49, something like that. I think 99 cents. I don't know. They were cheap, less than $3 for both of them. And that's it. Can you see those scratches in that wood where I used that that wire brush to wipe off that dust, that sawdust? But anyway, look at how it turned out. And I almost left it like this, but I did cut out these little laurels to put on each side of that. So I went back in. I wasn't going to do it because I fought so hard with the C in Cochrane and established 1992, and I just wasn't going to mess with it. But I did want to cover more of the top than was covered, so I fought with it to get these little laurels on, and I mean, I had horrible bleeds, but I fixed it. Now, Daniel, my grandson that's in the Army, said, Mona, just take them out of there. Just, take that footage out where you fought with it so hard. And I said, no, because I want them to see when something messes up, not to panic, not to let it dissuade you from doing things like this, because it's fixable. So that's why I left it in there. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed all three of these homemade gifts that would cost you so much money if you bought them from somebody else. And not only is it cost effective to do it yourself, but you have pride in knowing that you did this. Like, you did this with your own bare hands, and there's no better feeling in the world. So leave me a comment. Let me know which one of these was your favorite. If you're still here, thank you for staying and watching the whole thing. I love you guys more than you know. Leave me a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. But thank you for coming. I sure hope everybody had an amazing Christmas this year. I know we did, with all of the tragedies and stuff that we faced. It was just nice to sit back and relax and enjoy Christmas with our family. And I just cannot thank God enough for all that He's done for us. He's brought us through all of this stuff that we've been facing, and He's given us our joy back every day, little by little. And when I say He's given us our joy back, I don't mean to take anything from the blessings that He has given us, because Lord knows I could never made it through any of this without Him. But when you go through something like that, it's hard to see the joy in anything. And He just, I don't know, He just is just bringing it back, and we're just happy. We had a blessed Christmas, and I'm going to hush rambling now because I could go on and on. As always, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Be blessed. Bye now.